Hey everyone, welcome to Craven Something Scary, where it's all horror all the time. Now in this video, I'm going to discuss a new article that poses the idea that a certain character from Scream 5 that had a rather hot experience on set could possibly make a return to the franchise in Scream 6, while at the same time continuing to honor Wes Craven's legacy. But is it the right decision? Let's find out. So Screen Rant posted an article that suggests a way to continue honoring Wes Craven in the next installment of Scream would be to bring back the character of Amber Freeman. But how can this be done? I mean, she was not only burned, but took a headshot from Tara as well. Well, their idea may not be exactly what you're thinking. So let's look at this. The headline says, Scream 2022's Freddy Krueger Easter egg sets up a Scream 6 twist. Scream 2022 follows a franchise tradition by including several A Nightmare on Elm Street Easter eggs, but can Scream 6 take Freddy Krueger further? The article begins, aside from naming Dylan Minette's character after the director and producing the poignant For Wes banner at the end of the film, Scream 2022 also acknowledges Craven's work on another iconic horror franchise, A Nightmare on Elm Street. These tributes manifest in two distinct nods, with the first being an Elm Street sign which Richie and Sam opt not to drive down, and the second and larger of the two Cravenverse nods arrives at the end of the movie with Amber's burns replicating Freddy Krueger's hideous visage, directly referencing the supernatural slasher. As a result, Scream 2022's Freddy Krueger Easter eggs set up a potentially groundbreaking Scream 6 twist. Scream 2022 certainly pushes the envelope in terms of meta horror, centering on a largely self-referential narrative deeply rooted by Wes Craven's other horror creations. Scream 6, therefore, should go one further and bring other Cravenverse entities into play, such as reviving Amber to torment the surviving characters in Kruegeresque ways alongside Ghostface. Okay, so I want to park there for a minute. So first thing I want to say is I am absolutely 100% supportive of the idea that we continue to honor Wes Craven in these films. There is no Scream without Wes Craven. There's no Scream without Kevin Williamson. But Wes Craven brought this franchise to life. He brought Kevin's writings off the page onto the screen in a brilliant, masterful way. So let's be honest here. This is built on Wes's shoulders. Anything that comes after it. So I absolutely agree 100% this franchise needs to, as long as they're making Scream films, these Scream films need to always honor what Wes has done. Not copy it, not meaning you can't change things up, but there's always a thread of consistency and honoring his legacy. That's what I want to continue to see. So I support this idea from that perspective. I love it. Now, here's where I'm going to get to the part that I don't love, and that is, don't do it this way. Okay, you honor him, but we can honor him in other ways. But here's the thing about Scream. It has never gone down the supernatural route. And yes, I'm talking about even the Billy hallucinations. Radio Silence was on record very clear that is not the ghost of Billy Loomis. They were like, listen, people have been asking us, is this a ghost or is this an hallucination within Sam's mind? They have been on record saying 100% Billy's appearances are hallucinations. They are not the ghost of Billy Loomis. That is not him as a ghost. So they want to make sure that there's, to be clear on that, there's no supernatural element in the Scream franchise. There's not. Other franchises like Freddy, Michael, Jason, these other characters, there is a supernatural element that's going on there that's outside of just human abilities, but not with Ghostface, not with Scream. So my biggest problem is if you go this route and if you bring Amber back as a Freddy Krueger type of character, the movie is no longer Scream. It's something different now. And it'd just be better to call it a different thing, because that's not what Scream is. That is a fundamental, foundational change to what this franchise is about. And for 5 films, we know what Scream is. It is the identity. It's very based in realism. It's based in reality. It's not based in the supernatural. So if you're going to bring supernatural elements into Scream, it's not Scream anymore. It's something else. So that's my position, and that's the biggest problem I have with this idea. And it just doesn't work. It's not something that's I feel would be a good move for the franchise, because I believe if they go this route, and if you start to introduce this supernatural element into a Scream movie, you're going to lose so many people, because that's not what Scream is. That's not just making things new. That is completely changing the franchise and the legacy of the franchise. So that's how I feel about that. That's my concern with that situation there. Now, the article wraps up by saying, the end of Scream 2022 sees Ghostface's surviving victims pledge to move away from Woodsboro, opening up the opportunity for new ideas to come into play for the franchise. Scream 6, therefore, could foreseeably double down on its Cravenverse stance and include a horrific version of Freddy Krueger via Amber's return, with the character's facial burns already a visceral Easter egg for Krueger's horror legacy. The idea of Ghostface and the franchise's own Krueger imitation working together appears scintillating, and it would breathe additional impetus into the rebooted franchise following Scream 22's careful symmetry with Wes Craven's original 1996 movie. Scream 2022's A Nightmare on Elm Street Easter eggs are subtle and clever, but Scream 6 should dive deeper into the Cravenverse and introduce their own version of Freddy Krueger. So again, it's just the writer here really has this passion for this idea, and I think that's awesome. And it's interesting to think about it. But again, as you start to think about this, you start to cross the boundaries of what a Scream movie is. I just don't agree. I just don't think that is the right thing. I don't think they should not dive deeper into this type of an angle and bringing in their own version of Freddy Krueger. And and that's the other thing. If they actually did this, okay, and again, I don't think they will. I don't want them to. But let's just say for a minute they did do this. All that we would be talking about when this movie was over was probably not even the story, not about the character development, none of those things that we're looking forward to. What we're going to be talking about is, oh my gosh, it's Amber Krueger. It's Amber Krueger. Can you believe Amber Krueger? And, we'll start calling her Amber Krueger. And it would just, I think it honestly would be a distraction. I think it would completely take away from everything. And then the fact that you're fundamentally changing the film's core foundation, I think that it wouldn't be smart. I think it would be, honestly, I think if Radio Silence did that, it would be suicide for this franchise, for them making another movie with Scream. I think that would be it. It would be so poorly received that the fan base would completely, I think it would just turn over and just be an upheaval. And I think that could very well be the last Scream movie Radio Silence would make, because I've said it before here. We've talked a lot about it on live chats and in the comments of the videos here, that this is the crucial movie for Radio Silence. This is the middle of a trilogy, and if they're going to get Scream 7 to end it, they're going to have to nail this next film, and they're going to make it their own, but they're going to also need to treat it with the same level of respect and care that they treated Scream 5 with, in terms of the legacy past and the history. But this is the kind of move, if you say, oh, we're going to introduce Amber back as Freddy Krueger character, this is the kind of move that would be ending of it would end it. I mean, I could see us talking about it, saying how, they never got 7. Seven was never made because this movie was just a laughing stock, or it was just horribly received. So anyway, if your radio silence, you run as far as you can away from this idea, and you just make another great movie, and you'll be fine. So that's my advice. All right, guys, I want to know what you think about this article. What are your feelings on the thought of Amber coming back as a Freddy Krueger type character? I hate it. I don't like it. I don't want to see it. But if you feel the same, or if you feel differently, let's talk about it. I would love to hear everyone's perspective on it. And let's do it. So leave your comments below right now in the comments section so that we can talk about it further together. Well, that is it for this update, but I'll be back soon with more Scream and other horror movie content. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, this is Craven Something Scary, where it's all horror all the time. Thank you for watching.